Hi, I'm Jason Bill, the team leader of the justnewlistings.com team here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And really, I should change it to the WilmingtonRealEstate.com team. That's Wilmington-real-estate.com. And that would clear up some confusion. I happen to own a brokerage up in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. And because it's called justnewlistings.com Realty, it's just sort of hard to break away from the team name I've been using for so long, just to make it less confusing for people down here in Wilmington, where I live and work full time. And today's subject is waterfront homes for sale in Wilmington, North Carolina. And who doesn't want to know more about waterfront homes? Because even if you're not buying one, they're sort of fun to dream about, and they're definitely interesting to look at online, and especially in person. So if you're an out-of-town person and you're thinking, okay, this is where I want to retire, or it would be nice to see the water if I'm going to live in a coastal community. That's sort of part of the point of moving here, is to be by the water, whether it's the ocean or a marsh or a creek or the ICW, the Intracoastal Waterway. And if you're wanting to get into a waterfront home for sale and thinking about Wilmington NC real estate, you're probably wondering, well, where do I start? How much do these homes cost? What are the nuances thereof? How do they relate the prices to the school districts, etc., etc.? So I'm just going to give you a real quick overview on that subject, and I'm going to start by showing you a map of our creeks here. This is from a piece I had done not that long ago on creekfront homes specifically, and here's the website, WilmingtonRealEstate.com. And I'm just going to scroll down here, and this video here on YouTube is 10 minutes long, and it specifically covers anything and everything about creekfront homes. But as far as the map's concerned, here you go. On the north end we have Fudge Creek. Some people call it Fudge, some people call it Fooch. Then Pages Creek, Howe Creek, Bradley Creek, Hewletts Creek, and Whiskey Creek. And for a little perspective, way at the top here you're in the Porter's Neck area. Down here you're in Ogden. Here's central Wilmington and downtown Wilmington. Then you get over here towards Wrightsville Beach. And up here is landfall. So a lot of your most expensive homes in landfall are going to be by Howe Creek and along the Intracoastal Waterway right here. And down here, Whiskey Creek. And often we sort of generically call this whole area of Whiskey Creek and Hewletts Creek, we call it Masonboro. And you have a road over there, Masonboro Sound, and you have homes on the Intracoastal Waterway there. Let me mention this. I'm sort of stuffing this into the middle of the video because I forgot to point it out earlier when I initially did this video. I have a great link to creekfront homes, and these are the real deal. These aren't, creek view homes where you have to stand on your tippy toes from the kitchen window to see it. So check out this link here, and I'll just sort of show you what I've come up with if you want a real quick understanding of the creek front home market here. First of all, when you hover over, it's still loading, okay. When you hover over, it drops down. You have Bradley Creek, Fooch, Hewletts, Pages, Whiskey, and Howe. And you click on any of these and it takes you to that specific creek. Although here on the main page, they're all included together. Right now there's 61 homes for sale that are creek front. And all of them have lots of pictures and details. I already went over that, or later in the video it goes over. Here's that map I referenced before, and then again a table linking to you all the creeks. So if you do want to know more about these waterfront homes, check out the creekfront link here on the website. So that's sort of a starter course on where you're going to find waterfront homes in Wilmington. They're either going to be on marshes, creeks, or on the ICW, and of course they could be on the ocean as well. But if you're trying to preserve cash or wealth, you may want to skip the oceanfront homes and stick to some of these other classes. And each class has its own market value. So let me show you that real quick. I have 3 examples. The quote lower end of waterfront homes are your marshes or your marshfront homes. And here's an example right here. Let's see if I can pull up. This is 7101 East Creek's Edge. And I'm going to pull up a bigger picture of it for you. Standard colonial side load garage, and this one happens to be in excellent condition. Sort of a fancy refrigerator there, built to look like the cabinet. So it's very updated, arches and new lighting and granite. It's a real classy home, that's for sure. And it finds itself with a view on the back side here, depending on, of course, where you sit in the yard, because when I show you the map, you're going to say, well, this might not be a view that you actually get from the living room or even the balcony. Not sure. We'd have to go to the property and see. But you can see that's drop dead gorgeous from there. This is a marsh front home. Now, when we look at it on the map, let's enlarge the map. And we'll go to the bird's eye view. And here you can see the creek's up here. Okay, this is Hewletts. Hewletts Creek is here. And the home is, sorry for moving the screen again. The home is down here. You got some trees blocking the view. And you do have sort of this little inlet marsh area here that sort of goes up to here. So if you're in the yard and you're over in this area and you take a picture this way, you got a marshfront home. Now, a lot of these marshfront homes often, unless you actually aggressively move some growth, some trees and vines and brush, then you're not going to be able to see much besides the tide comes in. And so there's a limited window in which you're seeing the water. So how much did this marshfront home sell for? Let me show you. First, some more perspective. Here's Hewletts Creek, and here's the Intracoastal Waterway that goes all the way up and down the coast. And this Marshview home sold for, and these, I pulled up 3 examples with about 4,000 square feet because I wanted these to be synonymous with each other and give you an example. Sold in 20 days. And recently it closed for $658,000. So you get a marshfront home with some occasional water views, and not necessarily directly from the family room or the kitchen, but you know what's out there, okay? You know what's out there, and for some people, that's just good for their spirit to know the water's nearby. Next, I'm going to go to I call it the next tier of waterfront property, and let me scoot over to number 3. This is a creekfront home, and this is also Hewletts Creek. It's 4,000 square feet. So when I pulled these numbers, I specifically grabbed houses that had a lot in common in terms of their size and location, so I could give you a good case study. And let's get a bigger picture of it real quick, and then we're going to look at the view it has. How sad. Listing agent didn't do the greatest job. You got small pictures. That's not good for people looking at homes online. But anyway, let's look at the map. This is right on Hewletts Creek. And as you can imagine, being dead on a major creek is going to make you a lot more money, or cost you a lot more money, depending. Here we go. So this home was built recently on this vacant lot, and it's directly on the creek. A lot of these properties have piers heading out that are often 100 feet long, and their own floating docks. Let's look at an aerial view for a little more perspective. Here we go. The waterway, Hewletts Creek. It's not some marsh going out the side here or over here, snaking up here. It's right on the water. Scoot up a little bit more. There you go. So it's a great creek view, creekfront property. And that one closed for $800,000. So instead of $650,000, it was $800,000. Now you have to subtract some money because it was a newer house. Although the other one, if you ask me, looks nicer inside. But you get my point. Creekfront beats marshfront. And then finally, you have the ICW, Intracoastal Waterway. Now, funny enough, when you look in the listings, realtors always call it the ICWW. In fact, if you Google ICWW homes for sale, you'll find one of my videos, number 1, because I wrote a lot about some of these things, and all the ICWW listings are there. Just a real quick show of that, actually, when I go over here to the blog, and I think it's right at the top, one of the most recent ones. ICWW Waterfront Homes for Sale. So my only point here is a little bit of humor. One, you got all the Intracoastal Waterway listings right here on my website. And you scroll down and you can see the list of them. Right now there's 18 of them for sale. They range from 3.5 million and they go down and probably do get perhaps into the lower 600s, okay? Because sometimes the lot alone is worth $600,000. Back to the topic. Realtors have their own language. So for some reason, even though it's ICW, we always put it in the MLS as ICWW. 2 W's, Waterway. So I have people from out of town always asking me, what are those frogs in the listing? Well, that's family room over garage. So it's an example of how we realtors have come up with our own vernacular, which is sort of funny. Let's look at the map here and the view. And this is classic Wilmington, North Carolina ICW real estate. Look at the bird's eye view. And wow, that's a big, big view. It's overlooking this little inlet and the main body of water here. It's not this home, would have been even better, but this home is still, no doubt from the porch, you're seeing the whole enchilada. There we go, a little perspective. You might even be able to see some of the ocean over here. So these carry a different value, and that one also just a little bit larger, 4,300 square feet, sold for $1.28 million back in July, and it was only on the market for less than 3 months. So there you go, little info on waterfront homes for sale and waterfront real estate in Wilmington, North Carolina. Hope that gives you some perspective. And I will point out one other thing when I go to this page on ICWW Homes. My website was redone recently, and it's pretty darn amazing because some of my other websites, you know, all the listings are on all the realtor websites. So what separates them? Well, no other websites have the commentary and information on local niches of real estate that mine does, because I go into very big details on all these subjects to try and educate my out-of-town buyers. But when you're in here, here's like the property details for one of these. You got basics up here, price, address, all the remarks, big picture. And then instead of having to go click on another screen for more pictures, you just stay right where you're at and see all the pictures on the same screen, no backspacing. And then property details. It has room dimensions here. The kitchen is 18 by 18. Total square feet, the number of stories. The master bedroom is 20 by 16. It goes into what kind of construction it is. Is it a wood frame? Is it concrete and steel? It goes into acreage, tons of information, even the HOA fee right here. And not many websites have all the details of the listings, and even the map is on the same page. Alright, so you can use the satellite view, come in really close and then rotate around and get a really good idea of exactly what's going on that street. Do any of the houses have, you know, cars on 4 blocks around, etc. So it's a great website for people researching the market, very hands-off, and I encourage you to register, take a look at it, and learn the market, and you have a great day.